Yeah, they have Taco Bell. I've done a lot of runs for Taco Bell, which is pretty good. Taco Bell's pretty interesting, man. Yeah, it's kind of funny how the kids are when they're working here. Oh, like sometimes they'll like, welcome, welcome. You know,
Turn right.
Baskin Robbins. I went to
Turn
Baskin
left.
Robbins was pretty busy yesterday. Yeah, this one was super busy.
In
Yeah,
400
okay,
feet,
morning.
turn right onto North Stratford Road.
Okay, driving by the famous footwear Ross. Yeah, yesterday one. Yeah. So, anyways, I went out to the country. This was like over by
Turn right onto North Stratford
Nelson
Red
Road.
light, cameras ahead.
And so I was out there delivering. And I saw this car. I'm like, okay, this car doesn't know where they're going because they're parked on the side, right? And it's like, because they were like ahead of me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder what happened to this car. So then I drove and I found out the address and I had to make a left turn real quick because you have to watch the mailboxes because a lot of times it's hard to see the house number. So then I was delivering Baskin Robbins. I went up there, and then all of a sudden I see the car behind me pull in. I'm like, oh, okay, they probably had to do it. And then sure enough, this lady came out. She had McDonald's. So I guess that they ordered McDonald's and they ordered Baskin Robbins. Yeah. So it's probably the kid. So I saw this older lady. I'm like, oh, it's a Baskin Robbins night. Oh, it's a Baskin Robbins night. Oh. They were splurging, bro. So I'm live now. I'm driving down 117 or 17, not 117. Yep. We take this all the way to Warden, Othello. Yeah. Driving over this swamp here. I don't know what they call it. Columbia Basin Fish Hatchery 3. You go on YouTube, I'm live right now. 171. Okay, here I'm gonna be behind this Fritos truck. See, there's a bus right there. Yeah, Grand Transit Authority. They call it GTA. Yep. I think it might be electric. No, it looks like it's one of those special gas. I forget what you call them. The buses use. No, it's not electric. That's for sure. Yeah, that's what's interesting about Beck and Ron. They have their electric vehicles now. I saw Ron had his Blazer charging. Becca's got mom's old Blazer. No, not Blazer, but Bolt. And they got the truck, which is good. Lisa's got a nice car. She's got a Subaru. Yeah, all-wheel drive Subaru. I think she said it's like a 2024 or something like that. It's good. It's good. It smelled practically brand new. And then Nathan's got her truck. His truck is Jordan's truck. Yeah, you gotta have all-wheel drive in Moses. Yeah, especially in the wintertime, you're right. You gotta have an all-wheel drive vehicle for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. Is it? Oh, nice. I saw a couple brand new Mustangs riding around. I saw a fucking Tesla truck too. Cybertruck. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I can be really aggressive driving like I do in LA, but I don't do that. Yeah. Like pulling up on the right, making a right turn when there's a stoplight, because I know a lot of people don't do that. Yeah. I noticed that people turn on the red arrow too, which is, it's like, otherwise you're gonna be sitting there. They should make that red arrow. They should make it flashing yellow. You know what I mean? Adam Kroll is right, man. Sometimes the city doesn't plan that shit very well. It's like if you have an arrow, and you can't turn right. As long as you're, looking and watching traffic. That's, But they probably have people that are stupid. They don't watch traffic. Yeah, no wonder I can't see Lakeview Elementary, because they got this damn wall on the right side of 17. Yeah, because I'm like, where the hell is it? And I'm like, well, it's because it's, I guess it, right, exactly.
In 1 mile,
You have
turn
that big
left
ass
onto
water tank
Washington
there. I think it's
17.
close to this water tank. Yeah, there's a lot of apartment houses out here, man. Yeah, especially like near Winco, there's like a huge park and there's like a bunch of apartments out there. Those are pretty nice. There's one that I went to. It's kind of weird. I asked this guy yesterday, this white guy, like, hey dude, you know where building E is? He's like, I don't know. I've been to that one. I'm like, really? And then just walked in the apartment. Like, oh, so you don't know what building you're in? Because I asked him, I said, is this letter, is this building
In a
E?
half mile, turn left onto Washington 17.
Probably didn't want any information. It's all right now. There's Garden Heights. You know, Garden Heights, they don't have blocked off. I can see that's obviously Garden Heights. Garden Heights looks bigger than it was, man. Was that? Yeah, that's Garden Heights. That's that cheap. Garden Heights looks small, man. Then you got Chief Mo on Pioneer Way. Yeah, so they on the left over here, they have a lot of brand new apartment buildings, now leasing sites. I was talking to a lesbian lady one time. I delivered food over to Motel 6. Yeah, she said that she used to live in where did she say? The Bay Area, yeah. Palo Alto. She said it's really expensive. I said, so are you? I said, yeah. So what kind of work are you gonna do out here? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna do like big work. I'll work in a factory.
Interstate 90 bus.
So you work in a factory, so you get 10 hours, a day, but it's a lot of hard work, man. This guy's doing the beating. Yeah. That's crazy though, man. Okay, here's I'm going on Pioneer Way. Horizon right here, man. Let's turn left too, huh? Might have to cut in front of this guy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Frito, that's the Frito truck. Yeah, this Starbucks is where this Denny's is at, kind of. It's actually past Yonezawa. Yonezawa is where the Denny's is at. Denny's, Les Schwab, they have Lowe's out here. Lowe's, I did another delivery on Lowe's, which is funny. Yeah, Lowe's. I think people at Lowe's are friendlier than people.
Turn right onto Kittleson Road northeast.
There's the Wendy's right out here, Family Auto Center. They got a bunch of hotels. Oh, there's another Arby's. Oh, there's another Burger King too. They got another Burger King. Yeah, there's this nice little diner over here called Shari's. Lisa said that they used to go there a lot because it was pretty economical. Chipotle, Jersey Mike, right next to. Here's another Taco Bell, Arby's. Yeah. McDonald's is over here. You know that one, right? Yes, sir.
Turn right onto Kittleson Road northeast.
So Kittleson Road is this one.
1790 Kittleson Road northeast.
There's Starbucks right
Washington 98837. USA will be on the right.
Yeah, the population right now is like almost 28,000.
Center, 1790 Kittleson Road northeast. Moses Lake, Washington 98837.
A lot of old people
USA
too.
is on
A
the
lot of
right.
old people. Yeah, I mean, if the winters weren't brutal, I would retire here for sure. But the winters are just too cold, man. Yeah, I mean, all the other seasons are awesome, but just winters. They just, man, they're not really okay. Good. There's this Chinese restaurant here too. I picked up one time. It's really Chinese owned because I saw the guy that helped me out. He was Chinese. Yeah. Yeah, probably the younger version of them, Comfort Inn Suites here, man. Yeah, they're from Taiwan. They're not from mainland China. Mainland Chinese are way different than... Yeah, mainland Chinese are different than Taiwanese. Taiwanese are more Westernized. She was nice though. I know the manager did. I saw the manager. She's gonna be a senior living home.
Washington 17.
Yeah. It says Ray on there, man. No, I'm just joking. No. Yeah. I think the reason why Randy came into town without George is because they really thought Violet was going to pass in a couple days because of her condition and everything. And she, you know, even though she got out of the whatever the place is called, she wanted her own room too because she didn't like get along with her partner.
Starting video recording. GPS has
Yeah,
been
because the other part
connected.
was complaining about her. She had the TV way too loud and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, you can't get along with people that strangers, you know, you don't know each other. It's pretty crazy, huh? We're gonna have a senior fight, man, a bum fight.
Drive east on Kittleson Road Northeast. Then turn left onto Washington 17.
Washington 17. Yeah, this is good. But what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, man, it's like, oh, man. So Braun's probably stressed out, probably. It's not easy to. Yeah, it's not easy dealing with that kind of stuff going on. You know? Oh yeah, absolutely. Here's this truck. Yep, this truck's got this big ass trailer in it. Yep, a lot of people have trailers out here. Yeah, it's gonna be okay, man. Yeah, that's why a lot of people can afford to buy a house, you know.
Continue on Interstate 90 west. US 10 east for 1 mile.
You can get a pretty decent house for around 200 grand. I mean, yeah, I would like to have a house on the lake, but that'd be best. Just a view too. Yeah. Really. It's funny, I saw the skunk, yeah. You can smell them too. Yeah. I saw a dead, I think I saw a dead squirrel on the road too. Someone ran over.
In a
Raccoons?
quarter mile, turn left onto Sharon Avenue East.
Yeah.
Front vehicle has started moving.
Oh, really? Did the box say chewy on it? Yeah.
Speed camera 900 feet ahead.
That's a heavy box, man.
Speed cameras ahead. Turn left onto Sharon Avenue East.
Sharon Avenue, this is where the school's at, man. Rose Lake High School. Sharon Avenue. And it's a better day today because the sun's out. It's going to be hot as hell today.
Turn right onto
It's going to be
South
96 degrees. Really? Dang. Yeah, there's the, yeah. Awesome. Here's the high school on the left. Good old Moses Lake High School, man. Home of the Mavericks. Yeah, I gotta bring it back. They still got Church of Christ across the street. Oh, here's a senior apartment. Well, there's one senior apartment. That's not that. That's not it. There's a kid walking across the campus and like that. He wants to know they've got summer school coming. Children are special. That's like a daycare center.
Turn right onto South Monroe Street.
Monroe Street. Oh, man. Richard's parents passed away. Richard Modest's parents both of them passed away already. I saw their grave thing at the cemetery. Oh yeah. I guess Dad was an engineer or something.
Turn right.
Wait a second, somebody sent me a message. Here it is, Monroe Carroll. It's just the Mickey Center. Hang out outside. Oh, hey. How you doing? I thought you were on that street or just hanging out here? I know you're working, yeah. Busy day? Okay. I know, I was thinking about getting something myself too. There's just so many plants and vegetation that is all this falling. That's everything. It's just, oh man. My nose isn't used to it anymore. Oh boy. Yeah, I was thinking about going out and hitting some of the bars, but then I realized that Don's not of age to hang out with me because he's not of age yet. And I need a wingman. I can't just go out by myself. I mean, I probably could, but I'm just too dead tired by the time I get back. Yeah.
Starting video recording. GPS has been connected. I don't know why she didn't stand by the entrance, so that's most likely where I'd see her. Yeah, she takes care of these. It's an assisted living center, so yeah, for older people. So she's a CNA. I asked her if she's a CNA. She said, yeah. It's like, thank you for taking care of the older people. Yeah, they got these small houses right here, man. These houses are probably going around 200,000, I imagine. Yeah, they're not near the lake. They're just, I was over by Knowles Vista yesterday. That place kind of looked run down. Knowles Vista, yeah. The school in the park looked okay though. It's a pretty big elementary school. Oh, is that on Nelson Road right now? Is this Nelson? This is Nelson, huh? Yep. Yeah, Frank's. I haven't gone to Frank's yet. Yeah. I'm just afraid to go down there and get in that long conversation we got. Yeah, it's funny, that lady yesterday, she asked me if my name was Doug. I said, no, I'm not Doug. I'm like, you mean Hara? No, she said Doug as the brother of Frank, or son of Frank.
Yeah, Frank's mother passed away, you know, right? She was old now. Still has that old house too. Gosh. Yeah, yeah, they just kind of keep taking what you own with that business, man. Did that guy have kids? I don't remember. There's a check. So that's it in the line. I don't remember his last name is. What's his last name? Yeah, I just realized that here in Moses, they don't really pay that much for deliveries. Like in LA, you get $10, $15, $20. In LA, it's a little bit better because they pay more, and plus they give you a bonus too. So. Yeah, they're really, I don't know, it's really weird. Here they're relaxed on time too. No, yeah, I don't know why. Plus, it's too damn saturated. Got too many people that are on scooters. Yeah, a lot of fun. Yep. Good old Jack in the Box, man. There's tacos in Mi Casa. This is the one we went to go eat at. I don't know why we didn't go eat inside. That's because it's hot out, probably. That's why. What's that? Church of Good old library, bookstores. Yeah. Just go straight. This will be my last day, man. Here, maybe. I think so. I think it will be my last day because I gotta go back to LA now. Hey, here's Rams Ripple Tavern right here, man. The chicken. Oh, really? Oh, did they really? Was it there? Oh my gosh. Oh, I thought it was a different place. Really? Ripple's Tavern? Yeah. Ripple is a tavern, isn't it? Or is it a restaurant? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I thought it was just a tavern. Just go in there, sit at a counter. Oh, yeah? Gotta get on 17 to go up there. Yeah, when you see 17, you go to Patton Boulevard. I'm like, yep, that's the base. Yeah. Oh man, it's kind of weird, dude. If I can make you go all the way out there. Well, it's because the base they don't have any fucking. They don't have any restaurants up there. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, man. They should have food out there, you know. There's a Dollar General. And I saw one restaurant when I went out there, but I'm trying to figure out, is it open? What kind of food? It's just like really sketch because there's not much signage. It's fucking big in this pothole. I'm gonna go up to Wheeler Road. You're going straight. You're going straight. So that dude that won the wrestling, he was packed. He had his backpack and he had a lot of shit. You can tell he was probably homeless. But evidently they know him, so. Oh, Creed, that's the one that Molly said I would vote for sheriff. Creed, she's like, yeah, she said that she didn't like, I don't know why. Yeah. Because I asked Joe, I said, who's this Josh Sainsbury? Is he related to Eric or Mark? They didn't know. They said maybe, yeah. But he remembers Mark in wrestling and Eric. Mark was a beast. Mark Sainsbury, dude. Ken Chadwick, Superior Court Judge. Charles was a judge when I went to court. Alvarez Auto Detail. Yeah, I went to a law office yesterday, remember? Yeah, I went to a title company, Stewart Title. Oh, here's the Lakeviews down the street there. Yeah, here you can have your front windows tinted legally, man. This guy's eating this fucking Honda. He's got a for sale sign. It says 242,000 miles. You want to sell it for 4,000? It's a 2009 Honda. Huh. That was like a year older, newer than yours. Oh, 2006. I don't know if it's worth 4,000 grand. That's a little bit too much for a car that has 242,000 miles. Yeah, you know, I got a letter from, I don't know, the guy, I'm trying to figure out what insurance company had what coverage, but the one with that one with DoorDash, I think, I don't know, was it DoorDash? No, was his, well, there was another, it's kind of like there's 3 different insurance companies that may have been involved because of the owner of the vehicle or whatever. And they were like negating, saying, oh, we're not. It's too bad there was a, he was just some illegal doing some DoorDash. I told that guy, yeah, you need to back out, man. Don't be just fucking jumping it. Don't be fucking jumping the gun on me, man. Yeah, he knew there was not really that much money involved. I don't know if I want to deal with Smoke anymore. That guy's kind of a nasty attitude. It's like, he talks like he hates to talk to you. Like, yeah. I'm surprised his boyfriend, his husband or boyfriend picks up that shit. So I guess this miniature golf course is like right further north of 1010 Bowling Alley. Yeah, that's where Lisa said they were at. Yeah. So I guess Donovan went to scoop. He bent down to pick up a ball or something like that, and his phone fell on the floor. You need to go to lanyard so your phone doesn't fall off. Yeah, well, we took it to a repair shop. They said there was some damage. No, he said that rest is a good to go clog up the charging port. So he said what you should do is, you know how all those like foods, they have like this what do you call it? Those little things in there to keep it dry. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you have vitamins, this little thing inside the vitamin thing that keeps the vitamin. Yeah, he said put your phone in a like a sandwich bag and put that pouch in there and then dry it up. Yeah. That guy was pretty interesting talking to. He had a lot of good information. Yeah, it's called CPR, Cellular Repair Shop. It's on Broadway. No, it's on not Broadway. It's on 3rd Avenue. Yeah. His name was Anthony Deere. No, he's a white guy. He lives in Warden, actually, too, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, he has his little repair shop there. Oh, yeah. That's where his parents live, I guess. Yeah. Well, this guy lives in this mobile home park. It's interesting how a lot of well, we can really order DoorDash off. It must be the highlight of the day or something, you know? Yeah, that's true. You're right about that. They might have been off. No. I'm sure that guy's on food stamps. Yeah. And he might be on SSI too. He wanted to get a ride in Mustang, you know? Just like old times, man. I know, I'm just joking. Either Joe, I think Joe did one time. Yeah, I was telling, there's this coffee place that you can pull up, you know, little coffee shacks. I was telling Nathan, I said, hey Nathan, I did a delivery from Safeway. They had like 6 gallons of milk, a lot of creamers, and all this shit, and 2 bags of ice, whatnot. And I'm like, is it for you? Hey, are you waiting for Jack in the Box? Oh, okay, hello. It was him because he was waving at me. So yeah. So anyway, these 2 girls, they were pretty good looking girls, they were young. And she's like, yeah, just go ahead and put it next to the refrigerator. And they kept on talking. I was like, oh my god, they wanted to help me out in the car. Like, you know. That's great. They're just ladies, they're just talking, you know, shooting shit. No, they didn't want to help me unload the car. They had like a lot of shit they were doing. Huh? Yeah. And he's like, what age were they? I said, that, yeah, I figured. This is like, yeah, that's because they were young. Just like, we gotta go one more street down. Oh, this is called North Point Prefab Homes, I guess is what they call it. So that's this guy, how much they charge out here for this is kind of like what Grandma used to have. Looks pretty new because the street is like, it's pretty paved. It's gonna have, I'm live now, I can go back and look at it. That's why I'm like, look at some, yeah, well, it's not really off base, but it's off of Caxton. It's a 4226 Owens Road. This is even 11. Oh, okay, here's 10. Oh, here's 11 right here. Here's got nice little carpet. Just leave that door 11. Okay.
Percy was excited about that. I love that. That's why I heard me yelling. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was inside the whole night, man. Can you do that? That's crazy, bro. Somehow they left. No. Very reliable. I think all these things are pretty much the same, man. They're all built the same. These mobile homes, these free pad homes, are all built the same, dude. Yeah. Let's see if the guy opens the door. He probably won't open the door until I actually leave. This kind of reminds me of that place over in Orange County where I was knocking on doors. Yeah, it was like a mobile home park like this. Those things are a ripoff though, because you have to pay for the rental of land. You never own the land. You own the mobile home, but you own the mobile home, but you'll never own the land. It's a freaking ripoff. It just doesn't make sense to own one of these things now. It looks nice though for the most part. Did you hear me say? Yeah. Yeah. The connection must be pretty good. You hear me okay? It's like your my phone. Where are you at? Where are you walking at? No, I think it's your Bluetooth, dude. Are you on your Bluetooth? It sounds weird. Yeah, it sounds like you're talking. Hello? No, it's okay now. I don't know what happened before. Yeah, probably wasn't right. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Well, they got a lot of storage places out here, man.
I don't know how many storage places they have. I didn't see public storage in here. No, public storage, you don't. That's why public storage became so large. Is they bought a lot of the small ones out. Yeah. There's Turkey storage facility too, so I think they probably have. Well, they got a lot of RVs that are parked there. Yeah. I was looking at Becca's. Boat launch. They charge $5 to launch a boat. Yeah, because down at Redondo Beach, I sent her a picture of this sign. Took this is like $25. Kind of weird because I think in LA, home day is pretty slow actually. Yeah. No, I gotta get to LA and start working the market down there because that way I get a bonus for next Monday. Yeah, Lisa was telling me like, thanks to the Democrats for voting out on it. Like, well, that's true. They didn't do that. They did do that. But they also screwed other stuff up too, man. Like they're going. I heard on. Yeah, I heard that they're going through the garbage chute to kind of check to see what kind of like it's throwing your garbage. You can throw plastic. Yeah. Yeah, they're going through the garbage to see what kind of stuff they have in the garbage.
Red light, cameras ahead.
Yeah. It's gonna get pretty hot today. Penn Plaza is what they call this place. Penn Plaza. This is the Walmart and shit. Everything's at. They got a Walmart, Pizza Hut, etc., etc. And we'll look to that. Yeah, it's here at the McDonald's. Well, they're pretty expensive. They're more expensive than autos. The autos are more reasonably priced. Maybe that was Kyoji again. Hey, Kyoji. Yeah, he does. I don't know if he knows in person or like he does know it.
US saves on the left.
Yeah, it helps out, especially with those deliveries. Yeah. name? No. Well, he says that kind of in a different way. And then no, and there's like go film. You're like, oh, this guy's cuckoo. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Now he was getting mad at the Dutch people too because they were like blocking the highways. Yeah, those fucking liberals are blocking the highways. What they're doing is they're protesting against climate control. It's like, dude, get a real job, man. Don't be doing that shit. You're just blocking the street for everyone, you know? Come on, man. It's like I know you can protest, but just don't block the freaking highways, man. You're you're interrupting people's work, dude.
Starting video recording. GPS has been connected.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, these people don't have jobs. That's why. Now the job is a fucking protest and detest.
Red light, cameras ahead.
I'm gonna have my
Red light, cameras ahead.
can of chili in the morning, but if it's not, I gotta get something else, man. I gotta eat in the morning so I can take my metformin, man. Yes, sir. Becca and Ron. Yes, sir, man. Carrie too, man. She ain't messing around, man. Yeah, she can tell she's like a scorpion. She's got a mood skull. Yeah, she's like in charge. She probably tells what's his face to yeah, Sean, you're moving on. But Ron said that Sean doesn't like him. He's like, because he said that he thinks that they favor Lisa too much. No, because that can help Lisa with a lemonade stand.
You're drifting out of the lane.
Plus, Lisa can stay with at the vacation home too. I wonder if Debbie's gonna say anything to Beck about saying, hey, Kevin needs to you need to get this vacation home out. Well, Debbie, you know, you can do something. You put an ad in their paper if you want to. Don't just put it on Becca. Yeah, Lisa never saying it. Debbie keeps herself busy. She's got a million things to do, but she doesn't really. It's like, you know, she's got all these things going on, but you know, it's like. No, I know. Yeah, she's just freaking weird, dude. There's some apartments right here. There it is on my YouTube channel right here. You should be watching me live. Be careful. Yeah, she doesn't watch my videos. She watches my videos. See, 901 Northwest, okay, B203. Yeah, this is an apartment building right here. I wonder how much the rent is here. If I always see something, I like to ask them, how much is the rent? B building 203. I wish they put the letter of the building. It's easy. It's E. Where you can see it. And how do you know what building number it is? Until you have to physically drive it. Okay, oh man, this is D as in David. Maybe it might be around the corner, I think. Yeah, they have a lot of these new apartment buildings. I see across the way here they have new ones going up too. Yeah, there's F as in Frank. This guy parked this big ass truck here, right? F as in Frank. Some stuff here. Oh, they got a lot of water bottle. They got probably about 20 cases of water. Damn. No, I think it's just they just live here. I'm trying to figure out why they have so much water though. Why don't they just get like a Sparklets bottle big thing, you know? here's H. Oh man, I think I passed that. I think it was right at the beginning of the building. This guy's playing with simple floor. It really sucks. This is K. Letter K. It's got a nice little camera there, man. Yes, sir. Okay, I gotta go back out and back in, I guess. One of those places across the street, we got the flag. There must be like a, I think that's like a assisted living spot. Place too. Those are expensive, man. Assisted living, yeah. I don't know, they're pretty expensive though. Okay, here's A. Here's the letter A. Okay, B must be right across the way, or here's E. Okay, so where are E? It's called the Weston. Weston. This is out there. They have these carports. There's a little Corvette. Okay, I can't see the damn building number with these carports in the way. Jesus Christ. This is probably B or C, one of these two. Oh, man, let me just back in one of these spaces. I don't give a shit. Yeah, they should have visitors parking somewhere, you know? Yeah, you can't see the damn. Well, these carports are blocking the building numbers. They don't know what building number. Okay, buddy, we'll talk to you later. Then. See you later, buddy.
Newsom's accomplished has been to get himself investigated by the FBI, while his laws help fraudsters dismantle California while bankrupting the law-abiding and the prosperous. And if he becomes president, those are his plans for our entire country.
FBI infiltrated Gavin Newsom's inner circle by convincing Governor's ally to wear a wire. The FBI had a vault inside Gavin Newsom's political orbit before the agency's corruption probe expanded into the governor and his wife.
It's time for a national billionaire's tax and a relative social contract.
The billionaire tax, a key issue as California voters will decide this November on a ballot measure on whether to impose a one-time tax on the state's billionaires.
The only reason they're investigating the Newsoms is because something came up on the wire. And so they're investigating Newsom. He said nothing about it. He hasn't come out. You see Gavin Newsom come out talking about these. I don't know what they're talking about. You know, this president, he's an absolute joke.
He's coming after me because I'm considering running for president.
But there's also something else that has been happening over the last 3 weeks, and that something else is Mamdani and the socialists that he has been pushing successfully. And so even though Newsom understands how destructive a wealth tax will be, it's absurd, it's unconstitutional, but it does help him at least stay closer to the positions Mamdani is imposing on the Democratic Party.
This is a big deal. So the FBI got a member of the governor's inner circle to wear a wire and turn on it. And what nobody's talking about is the governor's entire political future only exists in the minds of people who hate our current president. That's his only accomplishment, is hating Trump. It certainly isn't the fraud sweeping over his state, stealing from the very folks who are dealing with one of the worst communism-induced affordability crises in our country, while they pay some of the highest gas prices in our entire country, along with utility bills and homeowners insurance. And don't get me started on the home invasions, which will soon be imported to all 50 states, coast to coast, if a man who believes in revolving door jails and now socialism gets to run America. Oh, that's right, the sneakiest governor in America who didn't know that the FBI had snuck up on him and infiltrated his operation is moving towards Mamdani to get the socialist support of the leader of the Democrat Party, who will someday soon bless the chosen one in order for them to stand a chance at taking over America and turning our homes and our futures over to the mobs. But that brings us to the real reason we're seeing the total collapse of California right now. Well, its governor is setting himself up to run the country. He's elevating himself on a platform of failures, which are failing. But the governor's between a rock and a hard place because he's been forced to double down on these things, because his entire political platform is that he exists to stand up to President Trump. And when that's what your voters want, what choice do you have but to fully embrace the ultimate expression of that, which is a communism first open borders agenda that seeks to remake every single aspect of our country in the image of Mayor Karl Mamdani Marx, trading our country's success and its future for life in an RV or on the streets. Speaking of which, the governor used America's 250th birthday to tell us all what his next move is. Watch this.
Let me speak directly to anyone considering helping President Trump interfere with our election or our count. If you violate California's laws, if you interfere with our voters, tamper with our ballots, or meddle in our election, you will be prosecuted. Doesn't matter who gave the order. That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past.
So the governor has promised he will become the wall President Trump cannot get past, while in the same sentence talking about votes that haven't even been cast yet. That's a little bit weird, right? Don't you think? Why is he bringing that up? It's almost like the governor knows something the rest of us don't, which is why the FBI is investigating him. Meanwhile, the governor's out there making these social media videos with his own production team to try and convince America he's being persecuted.
has only once publicly mentioned his possible run for president in 2028, appears to be staking out his positions on key national
Like what?
issues.
It's time for a national billionaires tax. And
Wow, a national billionaires tax. You know what's so interesting about this? Governor Newsom is the same guy that got out there and tried to stop the California billionaires tax from even getting on the November ballot. But now it's on the November ballot, and he realized pretty quick, gee, these billionaires that I was going to stand for because they've got their businesses in California, they create all kinds of jobs, they run the state's economy. Well, they're on their way out, and I'm still here, and the only people left are the socialists that wanted to tax them and punish them. And if I want to have any future as a politician in this country, I better embrace this communism. I better get on board with it. And that's why he's now out there advocating for a national wealth tax. And like CBS LA just mentioned, what's the point of a video like this if he's not going to be the guy to take over this country at a national level and do any of what he's talking about here?
social contract.
The billionaire tax, a key issue as California voters will decide this November on a ballot measure on whether to impose a one-time tax on the state's billionaires to cover.
They've already decided.
The Trump administration. Newsom trying to make clear he supports taxing billionaires, but on a federal level, he says if it's done by state, that allows billionaires to move and take their tax revenue.
Yeah, it sure does.
The politics of his party, as we saw this week in New York, is becoming very socialist.
Yeah, that's a big problem for Gavin Newsom, and he's got two choices. He can either say to himself, "I'm going to be a Fetterman from Pennsylvania and do the right thing," or "I'm going to become a communist from New York." And he's made his decision. And the most repulsive thing about this billionaires tax is not a billionaires tax at all. Check this out. Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna introduced legislation to tax billionaire wealth and invest in working families. Yeah, they always say they're going to invest in working families, but that never happens. Here's an article from a website you've probably never visited. It's called ElizabethWarren.com, and she says we need a tax on wealth. The ultra-millionaire tax. How is it an ultra-millionaire tax now? It applies only to households now 50 million. That's not a billion. Yeah, wealth taxes. That is the platform of the socialists, to tax success and prosperity and the creators of jobs and industry. Punish them. Let's punish them for it. And the reason they want this on a national level is because they think that if they trap all the billionaires inside of America and get to tax them, they won't be able to escape. But if that were true, none of the wealth would have been drained out of the communist dictatorship of Cuba. You see, these people, they want to make America like.
All right.
Cuba. They want to trap everybody in. They think that's how they're going to make it work. But if that's the case, Cuba should have been a massive communist success because you can't escape from that communist prison dictatorship. But Governor Newsom doesn't care about that. He'll say just about anything to get elected. That's what we're learning about him. And unlike Mayor Mamdani in New York, who firmly believes in socialism because he's 34 years old and he's went through public education in New York and graduated, he believes this stuff. But these politicians that'll say anything, the fact that they're jumping on board with that, that is absolutely repulsive. That shows that they have absolutely no moral compass whatsoever, and the only thing they care about is perpetual power. Not stores with the tax money of everybody else, bankrupting landlords, pulling grocery stores out of business, sabotaging his whole economy just to get some short-term communist wins. This is the guy who you have to kiss the ring if you want to have power in this party. If Mamdani comes out and he says that, hey, you're Graham Planter from Maine and you should drop out of the race, you drop out of the race. That's exactly what happened. He's the kingmaker. But the only problem is this was all a setup from President Trump a year ago. This was the smartest meeting Trump ever had. Look at him, hey, he's like, hey, look at this is your new leader right here. This is the guy. What a nice guy. He's on my side of the desk. The press is on the other side of the desk. What an unbelievable meeting. Now the Republican Party just has to stop being a bunch of wimps and run against communism. And here's why Governor Newsom might be the most dangerous communist of all.
And so even though Newsom understands how destructive a wealth tax will be, he has to reposition himself now away from being a kind of pro-business Democrat toward being a more socialist Democrat.
Wow.
And so
Reposition.
he's proposing what Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and other left-wing Democrats have been talking about for a while,
Yep.
which is a nationwide wealth tax. It's absurd, it's unconstitutional,
Yes, it is.
but it does help him at least stay closer to the positions Mamdani is imposing on the Democratic Party.
And it's failed, by the way. We always should mention it's failed just about every single time it's been tried, whether it's in a state or
But the ridiculous thing about this is that you even have this idea of a pro-business Democrat. If the pro-business Democrats instantly become communists when it's politically convenient, they were never pro-business Democrats. They were just saying whatever they needed to maintain power. And system that does anything to advance any kind of agenda because his only agenda is whatever you want. Okay.
The nation. So it just doesn't work. It's that simple. Meanwhile, there's a lot of other stuff that may be hurting his reputation as running a welfare state. Federal agents
And getting
raided a
investigated.
party supply store in L.A. They arrested a cashier who's accused of running a multi-million-dollar SNAP fraud organization. How did the scam work, and why is L.A. such a hotspot for this welfare?
Oh, because who runs the city
Well,
and the state?
basically, some of the store owners were exchanging food stamps for cash and kickbacks. And what the feds discovered was that there were small bodegas running up $1 million tabs in food stamps, and the kickbacks were providing the bulk of those transactions.
That's crazy.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is one bust, but the fraud is likely much bigger than that. And that's what happens when you have a state that is absolutely awash in government spending. It is very difficult to keep tabs on all the money going out the door. Since Gavin Newsom took office in 2019, the amount of money that California spends every year has gone up by 40%. That's after inflation.
That's insane. And now the guy who has built his entire political platform on these failures wants to run the entire country and get a national wealth tax. I mean, where is that money going to go? These people, they say that they need all of this money so that they can do great things with it. Well, they're not doing great things with the money they have now, and they're taking 40% more of it than they were in the past, and it's all just evaporating. Nobody even knows where it's going. It's going to criminals. It's going to fraudsters. What do you think is going to happen to our country if the fraud industrial complex and the communists
Friends, welcome to the program. This Thursday night, President Trump is addressing the nation. A source tells News Nation's Libby Dean the primetime speech will not focus on the escalating war in Iran or new efforts to lower prices, but actually look back at the 2020 election. Bill O'Reilly, moments away on whether proclaiming about the 2020 election helps or hurts Republicans. Plus, I'll tell you the real reason he wants to talk about it. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee joins us on what really happened during Ro Khanna's trip to the West Bank. First, our Why It Matters segment. Literally, why would President Trump spend a primetime speech talking about an election from 6 years ago and not an election that is less than 6 months away? So let me tie the two of those things together. Right now, Republicans are expected to be shellacked, demolished in the House elections, and barely hang on to the Senate. Those are the betting odds right now. 84% chance that Democrats take the House. Republicans would rather Trump explain the war in Iran and how it will unquestionably make America safer, stronger, and richer. It will. They'd rather he talk about the stock market being up. It is. Gas prices falling. They are. His Trump accounts, lower drug prices. No. And we just talked about this with Chris. America is not perfect. But these are issues Americans want to hear about. President Trump has a good story to tell. Today, Trump posted a clip from my May interview with Bill O'Reilly. O'Reilly then warned Republicans need to stay close to Trump.
If you think that you can cut loose the most charismatic populist president in the last 50 years, you're crazy. You can't. And if you try, you're going to get slaughtered.
So literally, why Trump's speech on Thursday night matters? He will use Thursday night to pressure Republicans on the SAVE Act. Among other things, it requires voters to prove their citizenship. It will not pass. It does not have the votes in the Senate. It just doesn't. But it will give Donald Trump something to complain about if Republicans get shellacked. Bill is with us in a minute. First, the White House for the latest on Trump's announcement. News Nation's White House correspondent, Libby Dean. Hi, Libby.
What I said is absolutely true. It's going to be a very close midterm election, bet machine or not. And that if you are in a Republican precinct and you go against a still popular leader, you lose. That's just analysis. That's not partisanship. And
So you think Susan Collins, for example, in Maine should get a lot closer to Donald Trump?
I'm not sure about Ms. Collins. That's a totally unique situation in Maine, particularly with the shooting from ICE up there. That's a crazy situation. But in a standard voting scenario, you stick with the winner. And so that was the message that I put out there, and apparently the president liked it.
GPS has been connected.
Do you believe, as I do, that Thursday's speech is about trying to pressure the Senate to pass the SAVE Act and ... Why spend political capital on something that's not going to happen?
It's a good question. I have to see what he's got. And it's not fair to analyze something we don't know. So if the president has really hard information that Russia, and that's what we're talking about, got into our electoral system and influenced the vote no matter how they did it, the nation needs to hone in on that. That's not just a frivolity. Now, knowing Donald Trump, he can deal with 6 or 7 other issues, which I think he's going to have to, particularly Iran, because that heats up over there. And then there's the affordability, which I wrote a column on PillO'Reilly.com. I hope you read it. And you should read all my columns.
I did.
Okay.
I have an email alert for them, Bill, but I want to get back to this, okay? Because you investigated
No. Let me make my point.
Let's hear your point,
Affordability, you just
Bill.
heard it on Bullshit. He brings on a guy who wrote a book. Cuomo asks a logical question. How do you deal with affordability? The guy totally avoids the question. Because he doesn't have anything. The Democrats don't have anything at those. If Trump takes the time on, is it tomorrow night or Thursday night? Thursday night. Okay. Takes the time to explain affordability and what his administration is doing, that would be a good thing for the president to do. So he's got affordability, he's got Iran, and he's got Russia poking around in our vote. You can cover those 3 things, and I hope he does.
Okay, so you investigated the 2020 claims by President Trump 6 years ago. You lost a lot of viewers and subscribers to PillO'Reilly.com because you didn't believe him. You said the evidence isn't there. I questioned Trump's claims during the 2020 elections because I didn't see the evidence and wasn't being provided. I was invited not to return to my job because of it. What evidence would there need to be to make just politically relitigating something that is terrible for Republicans to talk about worth it?
Well, Putin did this, Putin did that. Arizona was impacted this way. Michigan was impacted that way. Specific. Now look, back 20, I didn't have subpoena power, and I have it now. So my investigation is dependent upon people who are on the scene, like William Barr, the Attorney General at the time. So I'm leaning on him to guide me into an area of yes or no. If it's yes, how big is it? We also checked in with the Supreme Court Justice Alito, who was in Pennsylvania overseeing this. Now, Barr and Alito, both honest men in my opinion, didn't have enough to present it to the Justice Department. That's the fact.
Yep.
But maybe now there's more. So what's wrong with hearing the more?
I'm not. It's a question whether it's right or wrong or anything else to hear it. I'm thinking from a political standpoint, every time Donald Trump brings up 2020, it is harmful to Republicans because every Republican is forced to answer for it by the media. Fair or not, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. What needs to be there to make it worth it to relitigate this?
Hard evidence that Russia did X, Y, and Z, and it paid off for Biden.
You think Fox News gets their $787 million back?
No, because that's a totally different story.
Your
Okay,
cell
look,
phone repair
you're an
device.
honest journalist. I'm an honest journalist. We did our best to find out the level of voter fraud accusations. We don't have subpoena power. We can't go into state records.
You said,
But in my estimation, and I believe yours,
Movie theater on the left.
we came to the conclusion in the public arena there was not enough to challenge this election. Now, that could change on Thursday night, Leland.
it certainly could. It certainly could. This appears to be tied to this last-ditch effort to pass the SAVE Act. And President Trump, when talking about Lindsey Graham, I'm going to get your thought on that in a second, said this was the most important thing to Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was a pragmatist. He knew the votes were there in the Senate. They're not there. Why keep pushing for this if it's not what Trump will blame a midterm loss on? Republicans lose. He says, look, it's not me. It is the fact that the Senate did not pass the SAVE Act. They weren't Trumpy enough. It's Republicans' fault.
Here's the agenda.
Because it's passionate on his part. It enveloped him. And he believes it 100% that there was voter fraud. It's not like a policy. This is personal, like in The Godfather, okay? It's business, not personal, Sonny. This is personal to him.
Yep.
And always has been. I mean, it drove him nuts to lose to Biden. He does not believe that that election was fair. So psychologically, I understand if you're going to get new information,
You want to put it out.
Put it out there.
All right. I want to get to you on Lindsey Graham because I think both you and I had a lot of respect for him. They have disagreed or agreed, but a lot of respect for him. Here is part of your interview with Lindsey Graham, one of the last before he died.
Does it know anything? Well, listen.
Have you seen that across?
Here's what I've seen. When I first started this business, you got rewarded for problem solving. And, sort of knowing what you're talking about. All the energy now is to loud. Not knowledgeable, just loud.
It was him talking about AOC. President Trump, who I know you speak to a lot, I think he feels like he lost a real friend and ally here.
Well, he did.
So,
He liked Graham. Graham would play miniature golf with him or whatever they're doing out there. I don't know what they're doing.
You always got to dog golf.
Graham.
Why do you always have to dog golf?
I have many reasons, but I don't want to waste time on it now. The windmill confuses me. He trusted, Trump trusted Lindsey Graham, and Trump does not trust many elected politicians. That was number one. And what's interesting about that interview, it was the last extensive interview that Senator Graham gave, is that Senator Graham's passions were built around the nobility of America, that we must use hard power to right wrongs, like I wrote in Confronting Evil. And you can see the whole interview on BillO'Reilly.com. We have the whole thing. It's 45 minutes long. And he has never wavered from that, Lindsey Graham. He basically says, I'm a hard power guy. If there's something wrong in the world, something that needs to be corrected,
Third Avenue again, see what's
we're
going
the
on.
only ones going to do it. Now, there is a soft power crew led by Barack Obama who see it the opposite way. But that's a good debate to have. And Graham, I was on a phone call, I guess I shouldn't even say this, but I was on a phone call with Graham and the president. all right, about a year ago, I think. And they were talking about Putin and Ukraine. And Ukraine obsessed Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
I didn't say much on that call. My job isn't to butt in. My job is to assess information. Trump listened to what Senator Graham said, but he didn't buy it. So it wasn't like Graham would come in there and say, hey, Mr. President, you got to do this, and Trump would jump up and do it. That's not what that relationship was built on. Trump wanted to hear the hard power point of view.
There was nobody better at advocating for his position, what you said, the nobility of America, than Lindsey Graham. Bill, thank you as always. Great to have you with us tonight. Another ICE shooting, this time in Maine, as Minnesota authorities look to prosecute federal agents involved in the shootings earlier this year. Think about that. How long till local prosecutors start locking up federal agents? Welcome. Breaking news tonight out of Maine. The FBI is investigating another deadly ICE shooting. This time, a man in his 20s was killed. Department of Homeland Security has posted limited details on what happened this morning. Quote, ICE was conducting targeted surveillance on the last known address of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. An illegal alien departed the residence in a vehicle. ICE law enforcement attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon. This is the second deadly incident involving ICE in a week. Man was killed by a federal agent in Houston, but it turns out that man was not the target of the ICE search either. All of this comes, and this is what's important, as authorities in Minnesota reveal they are combing through evidence from the deadly shootings of 2 Americans back in January, looking for possible charges against the ICE agents. To date, the Department of Justice has not brought a case against the federal agents involved in the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And they were told, at least so far, or we were told, that they did not share the evidence with local authorities who want to do their own investigation. With us now, Democratic Congressman of Virginia, Suhas Subramanian, member of the House Oversight Committee. Always good to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Is this a good idea for local authorities to be investigating federal agents?
Yes, because there needs to be some form of accountability. And if it's not coming from the federal government, then the local governments have the ability to prosecute. It's complicated, right, with the supremacy clause, and it's difficult because it was in the line of their duty, but they still have the right and really obligation.
You say there hasn't been accountability. That sounds like you believe that something should happen.
Yes.
So you think there should be charges?
If people are being shot by ICE, then someone needs to investigate it. And if
the federal government did investigate it, and it appears as though they've cleared the ICE agent.
I think that investigation, a lot of people feel like it was not a real investigation. A lot of people don't feel like there was actual accountability.
Do you have any evidence to back that up?
No, I want to see the evidence, but the evidence I do have is the actual video of Renee Good getting shot, and the reports and the investigations seem to contradict what we saw with our own eyes. And so there's a lack of trust in the investigations of ICE right now, and that's why people. Well, that's what I mean by accountability.
Local prosecutors should do that?
Sure, yeah. Local state prosecutors.
What happens when there's a Democratic president and some prosecuting attorney down in southern Mississippi decides they're going to prosecute Anthony Fauci?
Yeah, if there is a
that's how this is. This is how this is going.
If there is a lack of trust in what the federal government is doing, and the local and state want to step in and prosecute, they should try. Yeah, they should look into it. I think that
you have no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with local and state prosecutors feeling like the federal government is not doing its job and not providing it real accountability, like in this case. And so they should step in and try to see if they find something different, or if their investigation.
So you think it's a good idea that any local prosecutor can start prosecuting federal officials of the opposite party?
There needs to be accountability.
Right, but you're saying there has been. No, you're saying there needs to be your kind of accountability.
No, there needs to be any accountability. We saw what happened on video with Renee Good, and there was no accountability. They cleared the officer.
Right, because it was a good shoot. So no, you are saying that accountability is what you look. what you want. If you don't like the outcome of the federal investigation, you want the locals to do it differently.
No, I don't trust this Department of Justice. I don't trust these federal investigations because they've been highly politicized. All of those.
And it's not going to be highly politicized. Wait, hold on. And you're telling me it's not going to be highly politicized in Minnesota, where the governor there came out and said, "I want these people prosecuted"?
Not in comparison to this federal agency. The Department of Justice has been completely politicized at this point. They work for the president.
And Tim Walz coming out and saying people should be prosecuted. That's not politicizing it. Come on, we're going to have the National Guard fighting ICE.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'll just say that
hold on. This is important. The people may want a lot of things, but we are a nation of laws. And you think it's a good idea for local governments, state governments, for their politicians to start talking about arresting ICE agents?
If ICE agents are murdering American citizens, if they are committing crimes and the federal government is not trusted to actually hold them accountable, then federal and state law enforcement should get involved.
But you are presupposing that you have decided already that they have committed crimes. I want you to this.
I like Leland. He makes some sense, man. All right, let me go in here and get my jack in the box thing. Leland, he makes some good sense. Nice coffee. Let's see here.
This is something that's interesting. This is the map of ICE shootings across America in Trump's second term. If you look at all the dots, there's something very interesting. With the exception of the one shooting in Texas, they all happen in deep blue cities, in deep blue states. Probably because the politicians in those cities and states have talked about fighting ICE agents. You don't see a coincidence there?
No, there's lots of other dots you can put on that map. They may not be shootings, but there's other incidents that are happening. I can tell you about some in my district and in Virginia, and I'll tell you
another blue state where the governor is talking about the evil.
I'm not calling Virginia a blue state, but yes, I can tell you about stuff in other red states. I mean, things are happening all over the country. Some of the stuff gets more media attention than others, but there's a lack of trust in ICE right now, and the way it's composed right now, and there's a lack of trust in the Department of Justice and the way they are handling.
Democratic politicians is what's going to restore justice.
I want accountability, okay? And so if
you want people prosecuted, is what you're saying.
No, I want a real investigation. I want them to have all the facts. And if the federal government is not going to do their job, then the state and local should get involved.
Good to see you. Thank you very much. Takes time away from endorsing Nazi tattoo candidates to pull off a political
go, man.
It was not a area that was restricted by military. American Congress people had been there before. We went with prior coordination. If I could just finish, please, because this should be an outrage to any American citizen.
These guys earn so much
The only reason we're alive
in
right now
stocks.
because of the excellent work of the American embassy.
300% increase.
Congressman Ro Khanna, congressman and self-described long-shot presidential candidate, spent the week on every TV show possible, although he will not come on this one to answer any questions, with wild claims of being detained and threatened by Israeli settlers and Israeli soldiers when they were spotted
was a lot of exaggeration. I think it's
Yeah,
an embarrassment
I think
to
so.
what Monroe did, and he can do better than that.
Well, I think anybody can. He seems to have a bunch of
O'Connor.
More jump.
Put that in that bay.
and we went through this in more notes of sort of changing his political positions as necessary to try to get some kind of traction. And I think this is why he went, because he understands that the settler community in America has a disfavorable view. More Americans are now favorable to Zoran Mandami than they are to Benjamin Netanyahu. 30% of Americans believe Israel has committed genocide. 35% Israel's ongoing military operations are not justified. How is Israel losing the public relations war?
I think they could do better in getting their message across. They have a very good message to tell, but sometimes it gets clouded because there's so much money that's pouring in from some of the Gulf states. We know that Qatar's poured $400 billion to influence Americans. They're the sponsor of Al Jazeera. They sponsor a lot of Middle East study programs. You have China and Russia. They're also enemies of what Israel represents. They sponsor a lot of bots. So social media is a sewer when it comes to things. So what Rose said, there was one thing I agree with. He said people ought to come see it. I would agree. I wish they would. I wish people would come, see it for themselves, and experience it. But don't be stupid and go to an area where you're not supposed to go without getting some permission. That's not real
It's
smart.
interesting. It's interesting. I always called you Governor because that's how far back you and I go. I covered you in 2005, now ambassador. But I spent 4 years in the Middle East, and I sort of had some of these same feelings, kind of the general group thing, oh, the Israelis are at fault, when I showed up in 2010 as a foreign correspondent and left with a very different view because I had spent 4 years on the ground covering the story. And the moral clarity comes from experiencing what is actually happening, not sort of manufactured confrontations. You brought up Tucker Carlson earlier and Qatar. A lot of thoughts that Tucker is in some way sponsored or influenced by Qatar. He certainly parrots a lot of their talking points. It's not just the far left, though, that is leading and demonizing Israel.
Yeah, it's not. It's the far, far extreme right, and it's a very small minority. They're loud, but they're low in number. And then it's the far left. I don't know if people remember the first version of the movie The Manchurian Candidate, the one that I thought was much better, the black and white with Angela Lansbury and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
If you remember, the far left and the far right got so extreme that they actually went so far as to join each other at the bottom of the earth.
was kind of the message of it. The extremism ultimately leads to the sameness of insanity. That's what I think we're seeing a lot of today. The left and the far right have lost their minds. They're circling the drain. They're being irrational, illogical, and they're losing any sense of perspective or reality. And the net result is you can't tell one from the other.
Last question for you, Ambassador. You were obviously a supporter of the way Lindsey Graham viewed the world, as was I. He left us tragically on Saturday night. I think it's a loss for anybody who loves freedom or believes America is a force for good in the world. What does it mean for the U.S.-Israel relationship that they have lost, I think, probably their most articulate supporter inside the U.S. Senate?
Without a doubt, Lindsey Graham understood what a lot of Americans don't, and that is that Israel and its future, its freedom, its success matters to every American, whether they know it or not. Israel is always the appetizer. The U.S. is the entree. When Iran says death to America and death to Israel, they want to gobble up Israel first and annihilate it so they can practice on what they ultimately want to do, which is destroy America. And the Iranians and their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas, have killed thousands of Americans. Most Americans are oblivious to the way that Iran has had an impact on America and on terrorism around the world. Lindsey Graham had a perfectly clear understanding, and he articulated it more effectively than anyone on the earth.
Yeah, and his viewpoint on Israel and on Iran didn't change, going back all the way to the 1990s. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Leland. Have a great day.
You too. First word about this in War Notes, a chance for an inside look at the show every day. It is free at warnotes.com to subscribe. I'll see you on social media. I have some fun stuff from over the weekend at Leland Bitter. For a third night in a row, American forces keep hitting the wrong targets in Iran. What's going on? That's next.
Have you reached the conclusion that the negotiated settlement won't be able to happen? No, I never reached a conclusion, but we're hitting them very heavy tonight, as you know. We're hitting them with tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have numbers that we haven't had in years, and we're hitting them very hard, and it'll continue. We'll see what happens.
Yes, we do keep hitting Iran hard. U.S. Central Command is flooding the zone or your social media feed with Tom Clancy-style videos of precision strikes. This is the first drone boat attack that are hammering Iranian targets in the Strait of Hormuz. We are, though, hitting the wrong targets. The Iranians keep firing on boats in the Strait of Hormuz, and Central Command keeps putting out statements now for a third night in a row talking about, quote, degrading the Iranians' ability to target ships. That is exactly what the Iranians expect. What we should be doing is degrading the life expectancy of Iranian leaders. You don't change behavior by blowing up empty boats. You change it by eliminating the decision makers in Tehran. This crew did not live up to their deal, so we kill them. Ask the next group if they will live up to the deal. If not, same thing. It's not that hard. Retired Air Force Brigadier General John Tiger is with us. It's good to see you, General. Good to see you, always. Is it that hard to target Iranian leadership?
Leland, it's not. U.S. Central Command needs to take a step back. They need to consider what are we doing in our targeting that maps to our strategic interests. We should be striking centers of gravity of the regime itself, or key nodes to their internal security sites, or unleashing the Kurds and providing them air cover, or hitting energy sites or power plants. Those things that map to how the regime stays in power or what they value most. The regime doesn't care about striking boats or air defense sites or coastal radars. That is in the noise for them. It doesn't change their strategic calculus. It doesn't move the needle. We need to take a step back and target strategically.
Is it that Central Command needs to take a step back, or the White House and Pentagon need to take a step back?
Either one. But we need to understand that the only way you win a military campaign is not by striking targets that produce flashy videos. It is by hitting targets that map to something that matters strategically. We didn't do that during the first 6 weeks of the war. Israel did. We did not.
it's time to start doing that diligently. There have been reports that the U.S.'s ability to project force in the Middle East is severely hampered. The Iranian attacks were far more sophisticated and more effective than we were led to believe. Is there a fear, maybe a reasonable fear by Central Command or the White House, that the Iranians can do a lot more damage than they're letting on to? I think there's a little bit of that fear, but I think we've seen the worst that Iran can do to us and to the Gulf partners. They've been able to maintain some level of strike capability. Degrading it to zero is almost impossible, but we've got enough defenses there and enough offensive firepower that we need to give the real opportunity a chance to make a difference here, which is to tip the needle and go after the regime and its sources of strength and power. One of the sources of strength and power is their ability to close the Strait of Hormuz or harass ships there. President Trump now says we are going to take the strait.
We're taking over the strait. They have nothing. They've got nothing. They're professional negotiators. That's all they are. I don't even call them good at it. They haven't gotten anything. They got nothing from me. But if you look for 47 years, they've been tapping people along. Presidents. Every president got tapped along, didn't do anything, and they became more and more powerful.
Okay. That said, taking the strait, quote unquote, easier said than done. I think that the only way that you can see the strikes we've done in the last 4 nights as successful is if they are preparing the battlefield for some sort of a ground invasion to hold key territory so that we can fully open the strait. But otherwise, we saw from the Ukrainians how a few drones can scuttle the mighty Black Sea fleet of the Russians. All it takes is a few one-way attack drones by the Iranians to maintain enough threat to the strait such that ship captains sit it out. Right, and when ship captains sit it out, oil prices go up, we understand. There you go. You talked about arming the currents, something you and I had talked about even before the war began, of what the game plan would be. Part of the game plan appears to have been bringing back the former Iranian president Ahmadinejad as an Israeli asset. From the New York Times, I would encourage anybody to read it. It's a fascinating piece. Inside Israel's secret operation to cultivate Ahmadinejad, it did not work out. Is that perhaps what we missed in our discussions about why this second part of the plan of replacing the Iranian regime?
Chris Cuomo here. Look, here's my
This is Little Morocco. Everyone is here for the France versus Morocco World Cup game, but I'm here to ask if they want socialism or capitalism.
I'm making a YouTube video. Only Arabic? What do you like about Madani?
It's no secret that socialism is taking over New York City. 3 socialist candidates just won their primaries here, one of which said that they forgot to get napkins, so they used the American flag. Another socialist